Lexi Wood. I'm a MBA student at Oklahoma State University, and this is my lovely friend Jackie. She's actually one of the people that inspired me to get my MBA and say, you know what, I can do it. I'm going to go for it. So Jackie, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and then telling a little bit about your role, and then we're going to jump into some questions.
Yeah, I am an MBA. I work for a tech company in cybersecurity. I'm a senior project manager. I do a lot of confidential projects, cross-functional, enterprise-wide, and also global projects. So I lead them. I have admins under me, and I also do a lot of the, planning, scheduling, everything involved in managing projects and people.
Awesome. So let's jump into it. The first question, what do you believe are the most important qualities of an effective leader?
This question really points to some good leadership that I've had. When I was thinking about this, a couple things that I would really like to embody myself. So the first one that I was thinking of is transparency. As much as leaders can be transparent, I think it's really important to be. There's always an element of it that you just can't really share. Something's happening at the company, something confidential. But as much as a leader can be transparent, I think that's really helpful. Something that my current boss does amazing is enabling autonomy. So she lets me, it's not even that she lets me, she really encourages me to be autonomous, make my own decisions within a certain framework and, considering similar things when I'm trying to make a decision and everyone on my team as well. But I think it's amazing that she lets me be the professional that I am and the subject matter expert that I am and the area that I've studied for many years and been working in. And that leads to the next one. Just she's not walking in thinking that she's the expert or a good leader is not. They're really letting their team members shine. And I think that's something that really impacts me when I have a leader that's doing that, um, again, lets me be the professional, not taking credit for team members' work and giving credit where credit is due. I think those leaders really kind of lead from behind and in doing so exhibit and kind of show how much of a good leader they are.
Awesome. Any other qualities you think we should move on?
Um, yeah, I think just another thing is just communication. I've had not so good leadership when details are missed and the leader is not even aware of how they're coming off or what they're communicating, don't have enough details, even if they're maybe not as organized as they might want to be, just knowing, like trying to communicate instructions in a way that's understandable. When
Mhm.
that is missing, it's very hard to understand that leadership style.
Yeah.
So,
Can you share an example of a time when you had to adapt your leadership style to meet the needs of your team or a specific situation?
I can think of two. So one that comes to mind is when COVID happened. I was actually directly managing a team as a manager. Um, it happened. We were all instructed to leave our office and we never came back. And so I was managing a team and they were scared and they were at home and they were working from their like bed or their dinner table. And there were kids
Chaos.
running around, there were dogs, everybody was very stressed out. And so as a manager, I was a little bit newer to managing people and it just felt kind of intuitive to add extra time to our one-on-ones every week. So we had connection points or syncs every week, meetings, short meetings. And so to add extra, just empty time, not scheduled time to those really allowed them to be a human and speak and say something if they needed to, or laugh at the noises in the background because we weren't used to it yet, or like you're
Mhm.
on mute, that kind of stuff. So I was experimenting with it and I think it was really helpful just letting them be a person and not me being, militant saying like just ignoring the world around them and being like you have to operate as normal even though the sky is falling. So just being aware of that and letting people be who they are and come to work as the person they are. The other one is working globally. So working with people in other countries, quite frankly, they do not treat women the same. And so, being a woman, managing maybe a new team in India or a new team in Israel, I've experienced just different things. So, A, learning about the culture, B, understanding how you can communicate differently, maybe some words they don't understand. Americans tend to say ASAP, and that means
Now.
something negative to people in India, I've learned. So I've really had to, there's some good books, there's some good resources. It's just educating yourself on where people are coming from. Like, no matter what culture, no matter what language, knowing where people are coming from, meeting them where they're at, I feel has been very helpful for me. I have a lot to learn, but
Yeah, that's so interesting because you can't really prepare for that. Like, I mean, like you said, you can read books, but you probably weren't even expecting, oh my
yeah,
gosh, I didn't even think I would be in this situation. How do I overcome this in my role where I have to collaborate
yeah.
with, people that might have different viewpoints on different
Mhm.
sexualities or a woman
Yeah.
telling them to do something where in their culture that's not appropriate. So, wow, I didn't even consider that. Um, what
Yeah.
strategies would you say you use to motivate your team and maintain engagement, especially during challenging times? I know you're a project manager, so you are directly getting people on track to get the end
Yeah.
results and wanting them to care about it as much as you are because you're ultimately responsible.
Yeah, I think in keeping with the human element of managing people, um, I've learned over time, something I've learned is letting myself also be who I am. And so I bring humor to lighten things up, to bring levity to situations. I do work in HR, so has to be HR appropriate humor
Hmm.
whenever that's applicable or however you can make it applicable. But lightening up the situation is really key. So sometimes people are working out of a lot of stress or they have a lot going on at home. Um, motivating, I have found that my teams feel motivated and maybe increase their engagement when they know that I'm a person and I'm taking the time to meet with them. And really things get so convoluted over text. So like
Sure.
Slack, email, if you can meet with somebody live face to face, I think that it really solves a lot of misunderstandings as well. So if you can just be a human with them, I think that's really helpful
Yeah, I love that.
in connecting with people.
Yeah, I love that. How do you ensure open and effective communication with your team?
I think I would also go off of what I was just previously talking about. So if something is in text with my job, a lot of it is not in person. We do meet in person, but it's only a few times a year. So if I'm meeting somebody new, and frequently it's the case, I'm talking to somebody new in Israel. It's a man in Israel, and this person is coming at a situation so differently than I might be.
Mhm.
And maybe this was a recent situation was not doing their work. And so I had to, he was on my team. And so I had to talk to him about it and, understand why this thing isn't getting done, but also don't want to offend or chase him away even further. So the open and effective part was really face to face. And I actually just got off a meeting before this, getting that face to face. I was interacting with somebody in a document. I don't think we were understanding each other. Getting the face to face, I think the person actually said, "I'm sorry for being so frustrated." And I think just addressing it and then moving forward is really helpful. So,
Good. Um, what is your approach to making difficult or unpopular decisions while maintaining team morale?
yes. Um, what comes to mind here is knowing your audience and reading the room. So if I'm trying to deliver a decision to a technical team and I'm trying to explain to them and justify why I've decided a certain thing, I am the decider on a lot of things. So I have to decide in a project, we're going this way, we're going this way. To a technical team, I'm not going to try and draw pictures. I'm going to show them the specs, why I came to this decision. And a lot of the time, I'm bringing info from this team to this team and being the spokesperson for why they decided it. So reading the room, knowing the audience, if I'm talking to engineers, I'm talking code, whatever motivates them and whatever is their angle. If I'm talking to the communications team, I'm talking words, I'm talking messaging. So that has been really helpful as far as just explaining, what's behind a decision.
Sure, no, that's great. What has been one of your biggest challenges you faced as a manager, and how did you overcome it?
Um, honestly, one of the biggest challenges I've faced is having a lot going on in my own life and not being able to show up the way that I want to. And you can't always come to every conversation and every situation completely mentally balanced and your chi aligned on your end. Like you, like you're going to have bad days. You're going to have all the stuff that happens in your own family and understanding how can I regulate myself so that I can be here for these people.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of that is just personally in my own life. Sometimes I'll take a 15-minute walk around the block. Maybe it's a stomp around the block. But having time for myself so that, getting myself ready in the morning, it's just these little things of making sure that I'm doing what I need to do so that I'm not showing up frazzled and hurried and I can't even think through something and I'm just in like, putting out fires mode.
Yeah. I like
So
it. And I think that's so I assume you're empathetic when you meet with someone and they've got a crazy day or something. You're like, man, I can be human too and let them be a human. Like I'm sure your people under you like really respect that because I think sometimes at work you have to everything's always fine. And it's like, no, we're gonna get through it, but like you're gonna have bad days, I'm gonna have bad days, and I'm sure they just appreciate that in you. Um, how do you handle conflict between team members or between yourself and a subordinate?
um, I've had this show up recently, conflict, cultural conflict. I think it was mostly misunderstandings.
Mhm.
Um, the way that I've the way that I've tried to help people understand each other is a little bit of what um, I was touching on earlier with like making difficult decisions. So if I can somehow, sometimes I'm like the mediator between the two. So if I can somehow say, it seems like what you're saying is this, seems like what you're saying is this, where can we find common ground? Like, I think that is how to resolve some of it. Sometimes people can't come to a
Mhm.
medium understanding. I think it aggravates things if we keep typing to each other. And I've been working remotely for, 6, 7 years now. And if we keep typing, we are going to continue the misunderstanding. And I think in this situation that I'm thinking of, where there were multiple cultures and languages involved, face to face was really helpful because we had been typing to each other, uh, which happens a lot for us. We're going really fast. We don't want another meeting on the calendar, but I think it is very helpful sometimes to have that. Maybe just meeting with one person and understanding where are you coming from, what are your motivations, and me as the mediator, I can kind of understand the two, and then maybe get on a call. Sometimes it makes it worse, but if you can kind of see like where we can meet in the middle, I think sometimes it lessens a little bit of it, and then bringing the humor back into it. Sometimes there's things that you can just say, wow, like it seems like that document's getting a little crazy.
Rein it in.
Let's talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
No, that's great.
it's been
And
helpful.
it is, I mean, great perspective for someone who were you remote before COVID or was COVID remote and then full-time remote after that?
I was full-time in person in November of 2019. I had just started doing every Friday at home.
Okay.
And
Wow.
then
So you
and then
didn't
in March
want to
of
be
20,
remote.
no, I still don't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my goal is to get into consulting. I want to be in person, locally consulting, but you
Yeah.
have to have 15, 20 years of experience. So,
Wow.
getting there.
Yeah, but I mean, you've
Yeah.
learned all this as your face to face is now online,
Yeah.
connecting the world. So, I think we have time for one
Yeah.
more quick question. You can take like 30 seconds or so to answer it. How do you lead your team through organizational changes or transitions while maintaining trust and productivity?
I think when you let something be the elephant in the room, it becomes bigger and bigger. And so there are some changes that have been happening in my current company. AI is really freaking people out
Mhm.
as far as taking their jobs. It will take a few jobs, but we don't really know that yet. We don't know what the future is going to look like as far as what can it take and what can it automate and where can we focus. And
Mhm.
so, in leading my teams, as people have been expressing, I'm afraid of the developments in AI, and I don't know what is to come. I've just agreed with them. I mean, like, and I've tried to tell them, well, I don't know. Here's my perspective. I was talking to somebody who is a professional in creating bots, and she says that it's going to be quite some time until it takes certain functions. And here's what we can do: we can focus on learning it so that we can then learn how to create them and manage them. And So I've just shared a few tips on like where I'm at